Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Danjo. This is their part number 9175 in a 630 finish with an RC, and that stands for radius corner. And we're going to take a look at that right now. And here we go. That's what the strike looks like when it comes from the factory. It will be polybagged. And that's part of the part number, in fact. You can order the strike carded if you had a retail environment, like maybe a lock shop, or a lock shop, I think, is where you'll find these mostly. You can have them in cards so that you can properly display them in a retail environment. More expensive, naturally, than just polybagged. But if you're doing construction, you'd certainly want them polybagged. Meaning you're a contractor or a homeowner and you're going to replace these. So the 9175 tells us that this is a D strike, or a full lip strike. D, use your imagination and see why we might call it that. Okay, that's going to tell us that this is a 2 1/4 inch tall strike. 1 3/4 is the length. 2 1/4 tall. 1 3/4. That's not the overall width, because that's not how these are measured. They're measured from the center of the screw hole to the edge of the lip, and this is indeed 1 3/4. So the 9 in the part number tells us polybagged. The 175, that tells us 1 3/4. Now the 630, that means a couple of things. It means that it's made of stainless steel, and that the finish is a brushed satin finish when you peel away that protective coating that's there. Now the RC stands for radiused corner. That means, and that's a 1/4 inch radius, that means on your wood frame, when they've taken the router, or whatever the machine is, however it's done, you've not gone back and squared the corners of that 1/2 inch router bit that's in your machine, your tool. And if you leave that, well, you'll have a radius corner, and a radius strike would be the way to go with that. Not a lot of people know that they could just, I suppose, square those corners out, because sometimes it's hard to get radius corner in the hardware that you want. But nonetheless, in an 1 3/4 D strike, or a full lip strike, full lip, you can get a radius corner. Okay. Now, there is a link below this video to a document called Product Catalog, where we can review all of the strikes from Danjo, and screws are included, by the way. A Phillips drive threaded to the head wood screw, or sheet metal screw. So the extended lip strikes, this one, is going to be on page 2I, at least of the current catalog that's listed there. And you'll see all the different lip lengths. You can go from 1.5 inch, which is slightly extended, all the way out to 4 inch. Lots of stops along the way. And you can do that in the 2 3/4 tall strike, which is unusual for a 2 3/4 strike to be a full lip, but you know, there could be instances where you might require a 2 3/4 strike, such as this is a little damaged around here, so you're going to chisel it and make it a little bit larger. There's also 4 7/8 style strikes with extended lips, and those are typically for hollow metal door frames. Extended lip T strikes, as you scroll through, and lots of different versions of extended lip strikes, always measured from the center line of the hole to the edge of the lip. Now, why would you need an extended lip strike? Well, this strike is about a 1/2 inch greater than a standard strike, which is about 1 1/4 inch. 1 3/16, 1 5/16, about 1 1/4. What would be the cause of that? What would cause you to require it? Well, in a case like this, you could have a back band on the back of the casing that really makes the actual thickness of the material of your casing large, thicker than standard. And what happens is when the door comes into the closed position, that extended latch bolt actually makes contact with the molding, the trim, the casing, before it hits the hardware. Or you could also have jam extensions. You could have an exterior application where the frame that was sent has jam extensions on it because you want a deeper wall thickness, a deeper jam depth than what's normal or standard. You added jam extensions. You could have brick mold. You could have an inset greater than the typical 3/32 of an inch. If you stand on the face of the door and run your hand over the door in the frame, you'll notice the door is scooched in ever so slightly, generally about 3/32. Well, if that dimension was 1/2 inch, you'd need an extended lip strike. as well. You could have a custom application of furniture in a kitchen, and this is going to be on the pantry door, and you've got paneling that matches everything around, including the face of the appliances. That could be a reason. And if you need an extended lip strike, it's very possible that you also need wide throw hinges, which we can accommodate with in that regard. The rest of the product catalog will show Danjo's complete complement of custom strikes that are standard and custom strikes. There's also a link to the template that's available for review there as well, that will give all of the dimensional properties beyond what we've already gone over. And that document is handy because, well, it may answer questions that I've not put here. It does refer to the other finishes that are available. 605, polished brass. 609, antique brass. 619, satin nickel. 620, antique nickel. Those are all on brass base material. Your 630 is stainless, and then a DU finish, which is going to be a dark bronze powder-coated finish over stainless, which is to emulate an oil-rubbed type finish. 050 thickness, which is 18 gauge, typical for a strike, typical for a residential strike. Nice, appropriate backbend return here, which assists in the proper operation of a latch bolt retracting out of the hole, okay, to help glide that latch bolt out is why that's there. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Danjo products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. I'm partial to Danjo, and it's because they have a relatively petite footprint within the industry, but they have a comprehensive product offering, and if you have more than an occasional need for trim and auxiliary hardware, I'd recommend that you review their catalog. They're most widely known for their U-shaped door reinforcing wraparound plates and their latch protectors, but they make a lot more than just those two items that they're most notorious for. Any questions on the 9175 strike in a stainless finish with radiused corners? And if you drop the RC, it'll just be a square corner. Or any other Danjo product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.